So they named the new starting quarterback at Notre Dame, and I'm like, okay, who is this guy? So please tell America who is this guy?
Yeah, so I grew up in San Diego. I was born in Chicago, actually, in Evanston. Moved out to San Diego when I was like 7. I'd say a big part of my life is my family, and I have 3 sisters, Brooke, Paige, and Bryce. Brooke plays beach volleyball at Cal. My younger sister, Paige, is committed here to play soccer, and so she'll be here next year. And then my youngest sister, Bryce, is starting her freshman year of high school, and she's playing volleyball, and she's pretty good. So
Athletic family.
yeah, more or less. My dad played football at Colgate. My mom, she's not really an athlete, but she rode equestrian in college. So
She went to Yale, right?
yeah, she did.
Okay, so pretty high level, right? Equestrian's harder than you think. Like horseback riding is hard.
Yeah, we like to give her some crap about it. That it's not a real sport, but she insists it is. That's where we get our athletic ability from.
I'm on your mom's side about that one. Okay, so we've talked to 5 other kids today, and we're just getting feedback about you, and not only that, but other topics. And they were like, leadership. Like he has got this maturity and this leadership about him. Where does that come from? Why do you think you have that?
I'd probably say growing up, like you're sort of as a quarterback, you kind of get placed into these leadership roles like all throughout your life. It starts at recess and preschool and middle school where you're out there playing touch football with your buddies out on a park, and as a quarterback you sort of get placed into this role. You have to pick teams and do all these things. So I think it's something that starts off from an early age, and then I also think it's grounded in family and some of the beliefs we have as a family, and it comes down to just building relationships and treating everyone on this team like their family, and trying to, push guys to become better players and better people on and off the field.
We talked to Lorenzo, who's your roommate, and he was saying that you are no doubt the most prepared guy on this team. What are you doing to be the most prepared guy on this team?
I think it starts it's all about preparation. And, I think being the most prepared you possibly can be, can help boost your confidence. And, I think confidence is the most important part of playing this position. And when that you know it, it just allows you to go out there and, play ball. You don't have to worry about, all these other things that are going on.
You seem like you have a really athletic way about you. Like you're able to run the ball. You seem very natural as an athlete. How would you describe yourself as a quarterback?
I'd probably describe myself as sort of a dual threat quarterback, someone who's, able to not only really, stretch the width of the field and, test defenses horizontally and vertically, but, in the run game as well, and being able to do some stuff with my feet and sort of extend plays and that sort of thing.
You've got a fantastic tight end, Michael Mayer, and he was saying that your throwing has gotten really good. Not that it wasn't, but that he can see an improvement. What have you done?
I think the biggest emphasis for me when it comes to throwing has just been like my footwork and feet, because, it all starts from the ground up. And, this offseason, that was a big emphasis for me. It was my footwork. And, as, I've gotten more reps and continue to, prepare and work on those things in my own game, it's been translating pretty well. And I've sort of felt like over, since spring ball and camp and now going to preparation, my game's sort of gone like this.
When your feet are right, what do they look like? Give me an idea. So when I look at you on the field and watch you, I can see when it's working.
There's this whole idea of like feel versus real. And, I like to feel like I'm lower to the ground, and I don't even know if I am lower to the ground, maybe a little bit, but I like to think that, my base is lower, my center of gravity is lower, and there's just like, when I'm taking like a hitch, so it's like, that last step of your drop when you sort of hitch up, it's sort of like to think that that's like explosive and like twitchy, that last step of my drop.
You know who does that? Who's a similar build to you? Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
That's what I imagine when you were just talking about that. Is that somebody you've watched his, like, he's got a similar build to you, I would say.
Yeah, no, it's certainly someone I've watched and looked up to, and, he's done it at the highest level, and he's a great player. And, a lot of those guys in the league, they all have, their own sort of feels that they work on. And, I think for a lot of the guys, trying to be explosive with your footwork and, twitchy is a pretty common feel that I think a lot of guys have.
I love that, feel versus real. I'm going to remember that one. Okay, let's do some big game questions. The questions are, you guys are kicking off probably the most anticipated game of the opening weekend. What is it going to, what's going to be special and what's important to you as you guys go to Ohio State, number 2 team in the country?
I think the thing that's really special is, just going out there week 1 with your team. And, we've sort of seen our identity take off throughout, spring ball camp and going into preparation. So, seeing that identity really come to fruition and all our hard work paying off. So I'm looking forward to that. Obviously, the atmosphere is going to be electric, and, my family will be there. My grandparents get to see me play. And so my younger sister will be there. So I'm excited for that.
It's loud there. I know you guys have been working on probably silent counts and ways to operate in sound. What have you been working on to be good in that environment?
Yeah, in practice, we joke around that we have the loudest stadium in the country during practice because, we have music, like this sound playing that simulates a stadium when it's really loud. And so we work on that, and it's all about, communication, whether it's, signaling in plays or communicating the huddle. For me, it's, being loud and making sure everyone can understand what I'm saying, and putting emphasis on, like, if I'm making a check at the line, making sure every single guy hears it. And so whether it's getting up right in their ear and letting them know, or things like that. So, obviously the silent cadence, but, it's really about being able to operate, when it's not easy to communicate.
How are you under pressure? Like, give me a sense of your personality.
I like to think that I'm pretty good under pressure. I think if someone were to describe me, they wouldn't say I'm the most, like, emotional person ever. I don't know why that is. Maybe just the way I've been raised, but I kind of like to think of football as, like, individual plays, and each play is their own. And in a larger scheme, like, you sort of think about what's my job on each play, and sort of that's, like, my main focus, whether it be, last play of the game or the first play of the game. What's my job and what do I have to do to execute?
Coach Freeman has come in and really kind of put his stamp on things early on. What has he meant to you, and how has he connected with you?
Yeah, Coach Freeman's done an incredible job since he was named head coach. And, I think one of the biggest things that he's done and put an emphasis on is building a relationship with all of us as players. I think he's done a really good job of that. With me in particular, I think the relationship we've built has been awesome to see. And, it's to the point where, he was obviously a defensive guy, but he's done such a great job of, learning the offense and becoming, like a two-way head coach, not just a defensive head coach, but someone who can go out there and coach the offense and give the quarterbacks constructive criticism and things like that. So, as now he's, like, knows the entire offense and has been really helpful in, coaching. And, it's mostly the large situation stuff where it's like, hey, you got to throw the ball out of bounds there, or we got to get it, we got to, like, get our, in, like, a 2-minute drill, sort of operational things.
That's awesome. Is there anything he's done with you specially? Like, do you guys have one-on-one meetings, or has he done any unique bonding stuff with you or the quarterbacks?
Yeah, all spring we did once a week, quarterback meetings, and we're going to continue them throughout the season on Thursday mornings.
Just you and Coach Freeman?
It'll be whatever quarterbacks can make it, but it'll be quarterbacks. So the whole group, me, Drew, Steve, and Ronnie.
That's cool. I love that. Okay, and then last question for me, I guess, 17.5-point underdogs. I know Coach brought it up to you guys yesterday. How did you take that, and how do you overcome that?
I think it's a lot of points. I don't know. I think I sort of see it as motivation, and a lot of guys on the team sort of see it as, like, a little bit of disrespect almost. And, I don't really pay much attention to that stuff, but when he brought it up in the team meeting, it sort of came to my mind, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's a lot of points. Personally, I don't think it should be that many points, but yeah.
And then last thing, Coach Knowles for the Ohio State defense, new defensive coordinator. He loves to bring pressure from different places. He loves to change the picture. What are the challenges that their new look defense will have for you?
I think, sort of the challenges are, seeing, pressures. And, the most important thing for me is, protecting myself and getting us in the right protection. That way, everything else can, happen, because it all starts with being protected if you want to make a throw. So, I think, as I've prepared this week and will continue to prepare, the big emphasis is on, especially on third down, really protecting myself and giving myself and my teammates, opportunities to make plays.
And then I know I keep saying last question. This really is going to be last question. Game week. What's different about game week? What are you guys excited for right now?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of juice in the air, and you go through camp and it's all these practices, and it's like when's game week, it's all building up, and you have 15 or so practices, and so now that we're finally in game week, you could sort of feel it in the air in the building. Guys are excited, and I would just say there's something in the air that gets people going for practice and meetings, and getting to more guys are spending more time in the building and things like that.